Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer and I'm playing 1837. The game, well, I wouldn't really say it's already in the last phase, but we're getting there. Every player is now at the certificate limit, which is 21. Now when the first 5 train is purchased, all the mountain railroads go away. So these here. And that will open up new slots. For example, this player is owning 3 mountain railroads. So it's kind of interesting that during the second OR, basically, they will not produce any income. So he's basically 3 shares short depending on who you compare it to. For example, 2 shares short comparing to this guy and comparing to this guy. They both have only a single mountain railway. So that's a bit, yeah, that might become a problem. In addition, we've seen that dump of the Moravian. So also this guy over here managed to get all the permanent trains out of the company. We only have 40 bucks left in here, and then he dumped it on him. The Moravian wasn't in a great condition. They had a single 4 train, a permanent train, and about 100 bucks. So the long-term perspective wasn't that great. Also the location here, it didn't really work that good for a 4 train, and yeah, single one, I don't know, I just wasn't too happy with it. So maybe I could have saved it with the money of the Hungarian, but it was the only thing that I could do to shake things up, because this player here was absolutely under control. He was so much on the winning path. He has this company here, which has 1,000 bucks. They will be able to hold 2 trains, a 4G and a 4 train eventually. And he holds this company here, which has still 300 bucks, which isn't so good, but they also basically had 2 trains. At the moment they even have 3. So yeah, they might have ended up maybe also with 3 trains, definitely with 2. So owning 2 companies with 2 trains is really good. It's really solid. Now he's sitting on this one, and that's not good. So that is actually something that could have cost him the victory, because he somehow has to take care of that. I mean, obviously he has enough trains to avoid an emergency financing situation. That is not the issue here. But he's not in a position anymore where he can easily dominate all the revenue situation with these 2 companies that he owns. Now, to fix this, I had the idea, when these guys, they start operating, so they still can run all their 3 trains one more time. So they swallow, that nearly brings them to a new train. Not quite, we are at 600 something and we need 200 more bucks. But then during the emergency financing, I could have purchased one of these 2 trains for, I don't know, for example 200 or 300 bucks, pay a little bit out of my own pocket, and then I could buy a 5 train or a 5E or 5 plus train or whatever from the bank. With the Southern, then I had 2 good trains here, one train here, which it's not great, but I only have 3 shares of that. And I have 2 good trains here. And then things would be really, really good. But there's a problem with that. Basically, I cannot swallow with these guys, and I show you why. I assume that the game goes 2 more cycles of ORs. So this one and the next one. So these are 6 ORs. So let's say, this is here the company. Let's say I pay out 6 times, so I don't swallow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I end up exactly here. If I would swallow, I would go back and then run 5 more ORs. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if you look at that, here a share value is 280. Here it's 460. This is insane. I mean, these are nearly $200 per share. I hold 60%. So if I swallow, I lose $1,200 in share value. This is crazy. This is totally unacceptable. I cannot do that. Swallowing is impossible. It is it's off the table. I can't do it. It's just insane. And that sucks. I mean, that basically means I have to run these 2 companies with 1 train each. And that is not good. But I just don't know what else to do. The only thing I could consider is, but that's not going to work, swallowing with these guys once, because there the difference isn't so big. I might even think about it. And then somehow, I mean, that's maybe even an option, and then somehow buy the train over here. And yeah, that is an interesting idea, actually. Okay, here's another thing that I just realized. We do not have yet 3 ORs. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's not indicated here, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, no, absolutely not. It says in brown you have 3 ORs. So that means we probably will only have 5 ORs left. That might change the situation a bit. So let's see. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's instead 360. It would be 240. Basically go back and then 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. Yeah, I go back and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So that's a huge difference. I didn't realize that before. That's only 120, but it's still so much cash. I think. Yeah, I don't know. And it also means when I buy my 3rd train, I can only run that for 3 ORs. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go and run these 2 companies for with 1 train each. It's not that great, but I think it's the best I have. All these thoughts are obviously worth nothing if we are running longer than 2 cycles of ORs. And the more I think about it, this might actually be an option, because we're gonna buy a lot of trains, right? I mean, there's a lot of money in here. We got about, 1,500. This company, I don't know how much it will start with, but it's gonna be a lot. We're definitely gonna see more than 1,000 in the Hungarian. And so that's 2,500. We're gonna have nearly 1,000 here. So it's 4,500. So basically, yeah, I don't know, about $4,500 will go back into the bank pool. And considering the fact that this OR only has two cycles, two ORs, that this set only has two ORs, I'm actually thinking now we're going to see an additional set of ORs. And that means I can actually swallow, because I'm going to have the time. I'm going to probably get stuck here anyway, eventually. So yeah, I will swallow with these guys. I'm pretty sure it's going to be possible. I cannot be totally sure, but I think I'm going to do it. I might roll a die on that, but I think I'm going to do it. But first, the EHS operates, and then these guys. Okay, so the Southern is operating now, and I laid a tile here for $70. This is basically a tile that I have to pay out of pocket, because everything I'm spending now, I have to spend from my own capital later for the train. And I'm not even totally sure if I do have enough, but I think it's okay, because I make again now more money by laying this piece of track, because now I can go with my trains 2 times to Vienna, which is pretty good, obviously. And yeah, and I need that track if I want to run the 5 train in a reasonable way later. So therefore, I can run now the 4 train simply from here to Vienna. I can run, what do I have? I have a 4 express. Well, I guess maybe the best way is actually from Vienna all the way down here, I assume. And the 3 train goes from here to Budapest. So that is a pretty good run. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So I can go 100, 170. That's 230, 260, 300, 330, 360, 390, 440. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to swallow that. Okay. Now let's see how much money we have in here. Well, that is 650. It's about 670. That's pretty good. If I then buy a train over with these guys, I'm pretty much at $700. So that means even if I get the most expensive train, I need 260 out of pocket, which I have. Yeah. So I'm okay with that. And I hope that was not a miscalculation. If I only run now 5 ORs, then that was a very bad idea. But I think it's gonna be 8. And then I'm okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, then it's absolutely no issue. And that swallow was worth it. So actually I messed up. These guys, the minor companies, I forgot to run them. I think it will not have a big impact because they're not going to buy any trains. But they of course can lay track. So if it changes things, but it won't be to my disadvantage. So therefore, but I'm going to do that now, of course. So the three miners operated, the three Hungarian companies, and the only relevant thing that actually, well, that's not quite true. First of all, this one here, Krakow, was upgraded to and he had a 2G train, so he could start here and run from the EKT mine through Krakow to Budapest. So that's pretty cool. And the 2 wasn't too impressive. The 3 could run again from Budapest to Vienna, and they made this very important tile lay to connect this one here. I don't know what that city is. I'm kind of curious. Marburg. So they connected Marburg now to Budapest, basically. And this is, yeah, that's a really important one for the Bosnia-Herzegovina Railway. Okay, so the KK now operates for the first time. And he is in a very interesting position here, because if I take a look at his companies, for example, we have this one, the Pest-Weizen with a 2G train, the Galician Transverse with a 3G and a 3 train and just a buck, and the Transylvanian with a 2G, a 4+2, a 4+1, and 10 bucks. So technically, if you think about it, he's actually not really interested in buying the 5 train. Because if he does that, that would mean he's gonna lose very soon the 2G, the 3, and that 2G. He's gonna lose 3 trains, and here, I mean, okay, he then can buy probably 2 new trains instead, but it's for that company. But overall, he's gonna lose 3 trains. Is that really what he wants? Now, and there are other companies who piled up a ton of cash to buy stuff. Overall, him, for example, he is eager to get a 4G, right? You can see that. He needs a G train. He is not in the position for a standard train. So, I mean, if I don't unlock that train by buying the 5 train, he's kind of pissed, right? He's got to buy back the 3 train for a buck. He cannot really go into an emergency fundraiser. Yeah, well, eventually he will, but it's really not what he expected. He basically loses another turn. This guy, okay, he is doing okay, but it's probably also not quite. It's a very interesting decision for him. Now, first I want to run the trains, and I will, now let me see, again, a second tricky decision here. If I lay a token here, that would mean I will not be able to run with the well, that doesn't matter really. You know, actually, yeah, I think I'm gonna lay a token in this place here, and that only costs me 20 bucks, right? It's right next to my hometown, Wien. So I'm gonna simply place a token here. That will hurt definitely the Hungarian, maybe the Moravian, we'll see. But for me it's a good token, and it allows me to run the 3 train directly between Wien and Budapest. Okay, so I ran for 280, and I will swallow that. And now it is the, yeah, I got to make that decision. What do I exactly want to do? And that's a tough one. Do I want to buy the train, the 5? Because if I do that, I'm now gonna have, this is 1,800 bucks and a bit extra. So that would mean I could afford the 5 and the 4G. And I think this is what I want. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is exactly what I need. If I want a G train, and I do want a G train because I want to try to participate in this, it's not going to be really easy, but there's a chance. So I think I want that. There is another issue though. If I buy now, if I do this now, that means that brown becomes available, and that will these are some important tile placement decisions. So for example, you can decide how to place Vienna. We'll see that in a minute. And also you can open up Budapest to a 3 city. So there are then 2 spaces available in Budapest where players could place tokens. But if I open up brown now, I'm going to be the last player who has that chance. So I don't know if this is worth it. There's a lot to think about here. Okay, I'm going to buy the train. And the reason is, if I don't do it and someone else does, and there's, for example, a chance that he will do it. We don't know that, but it's at least possible. So if that should happen, that would mean I would basically lose a complete run next turn, because then both of these trains will rust. And that is something I cannot really afford, I guess. Yeah, and I also would not be able to buy 2 trains because I don't have, I mean, maybe depending on what train that is, but I'm a little bit short in money. I have 1,800 and not even 1,850. So if the next available train would be a 5 + 2 and a 4G, I could only afford 1 train, and that is not good. So therefore, I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy the 5 train now, and I'm going to buy the 4G. The 5 train unlocks the 4G. And of course, the 5 train rusts the 3. So that means I'm also not train locked. Am I? Oh, wait a second. No, they have one more. They have a train limit of 3. Okay, so no problems here. Yeah. So I'm sitting here. I got to pay 1,800 bucks. Now my problem is I'm not going to be able to lay another token at the moment. But, you know, the G train gives me a small income, and so eventually I can do it. Okay. Perfect. So the train rush goes on, and we are in 5, and I want to check out what that exactly means. Okay, so this is a big rusting event. A lot of stuff happens. Well, of course, we have now 3 ORs. The brown tiles become available. Train limit is reduced to 2 for the major railroads, and the nationals may have 3 trains. The 4G is unlocked. The Hungarian must now form, and the miners of the Hungarian have to be converted into an exchange share, and the mountain railroads all close. And the coal companies also now have to be exchanged. So there's quite a bit to do here. And of course, I forgot that, the 3 trains rust. And because I bought a 4G train, that also means the 2G trains rust. Okay. Okay, so I'm done with all that, and now it looks like your standard 18xx game. Not tons of companies anymore. I mean, there's still quite a few, but 11. So the Hungarian formed, and they're sitting on a 4 and a 3+1 train, and they have about $1,300. This is not the best. You know, this is it's enough. It's a lot more than 1 train, but it's not enough for 2 trains. So it kind of sucks a little bit. However, if he somehow shuffles the money from the Bosnia, if he combines the treasuries, then it's going to be enough for 2 trains. And so that's what he's aiming for. He's got a problem though, and these are these 3+1 trains. He owns 2 of them, and actually he owns the only 2 of them. And the interesting aspect about them is they are the last non-permanent trains. And I've seen in my first game that this actually was a permanent train. They rust with the 5+2, and it depends what type of trains the players are aiming for. Now, when I played last time, I was massively aiming for this 4G train. And I ended up not buying the 5+2. So I wouldn't actually rule that out. There are 2 standard trains left. Now let me quickly, let me show you that. I mean, these guys are not planning to buy a train anymore. We don't see that here and here either. This guy will buy a train, but he will buy a 4G train. This guy, no money for a train. Here, this is interesting. He is aiming for a 4G train. And here, we're going to see 2 standard trains we purchased. Yeah, so there you have it. These 2 trains will go away, but not the 5+2. So that's interesting. What does that mean for this guy? I mean, he now basically has a choice. He can buy a 4G train, and then he's train locked. Or he can say, I'm going to shuffle around my trains, and then yeah, I could basically, it's tricky. You have to be careful here, because if I buy that train and yeah, I basically have to buy a standard train before buying the 4G train to make sure that my 2 3+1 trains go away, and then I have the chance to buy the 4G train. However, this is not true. I just realized that. There is a special rule in this game. I just remember that. You have the option to discard a train if you pay half the value of the train to the bank. then you are allowed to discard a train, and then you are forced to buy a new train. So that is something he could actually do here. It's only 140 bucks, and depending on how much money he has, that might be actually an interesting choice for him. But on the other hand, it remains the question, is it a good idea? What's better? To have 1-5 train or something, or to hold the 2 3+1 trains? Now it seems to me the 2 3+1 trains are actually better. So it's an interesting situation that we have here. Okay, I realized I made a mistake. This thing, I cannot place that right now. I should not have been able to do it. So I'm going to put this one here, because the thing is, these 2 stations, or these 3 stations, they stay actually in place like that. And eventually, when Vienna is upgraded, what happens is it's going to be placed like this, and then there will be 1 token placed here. So that is, I just realized that. So that means the guy gets back 20 bucks. And he does not have the option to place a tile there. Which is really important, because now somebody else could do it. And that's a real big deal. So I got to be honest, that might have had an impact on the run. I don't remember that. It was yesterday. I came now back to the game and I just realized that I cannot fix that anymore. This is just, I don't know, they have now different trains. This is just a little bit too much. But it's important that this space is open, so it is not unlikely that someone else might jump in there. Maybe the Hungarian. I can easily see that, and that is then a huge problem for the KK. Okay, so it's the Bosnia-Herzegovina Railway now, and they face a big decision. Basically, the question is, are these 3+1 trains permanent or not? Because if they are sitting here on 500 bucks. And they can use that money to place this token on some of these key spaces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, that token would cost them, for example, here, 240 bucks. Or they could go to Vienna, just as an example, which would be even more expensive. So when they make that decision, it's not really going to be enough money to buy an additional train. Then they have a problem, right? If the 3+1 will rust. But we talked about that. I think it is really unlikely that this is going to happen. As I mentioned, so we're going to have a train here, a G train. Here, it's probably also G train. I don't know. I mean, I really don't think it's going to happen. There are 2 trains here. I think I'm going to take the risk. I mean, I could wait 1 turn or so, but then someone else might have jumped in here. So I don't really know. Okay, again, I looked at the other companies. So just imagine, I want to lay a token in Budapest or maybe here. This guy, he
could maybe do it. He has the cash to do that. This guy doesn't. This guy doesn't. This guy, yeah, okay, it's possible. For him, it's possible. He couldn't do it. For him, it's super expensive. I don't expect him to do it. This guy can't do it. And this guy doesn't have a token anymore. So in theory, it is possible. Two companies have the option to place a token there. How likely is it? Well, let me see. If I use the Hungarian national to place a token here, then these guys, well, they could. If they upgrade this, they are still connected. So it's 1, 2, 3. That means they need $60. Yeah, they have that. This is tricky. So I'm going to roll a die, and on a 1 to 3, because I'm a little bit conservative. Otherwise, if I would play this, I would actually take the risk and place it, because I don't think anybody will buy the 5+2 train. But we don't really know that. So therefore, I'm going to roll, and on a 1 to 3, I'm going to lay the token in Budapest, and otherwise I won't. Okay, so I will actually lay a token there, which will cost me a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. $240. Actually, I think I'm not going to go to Budapest. Instead, I'm going to place a token here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means I got to spend $200. So I don't have to pay the full amount. And I'm going to place the I'm going to upgrade this thing. Into this. And then we got a token here. The reason why I want the token here is it basically gives me access to Budapest, but also to Vienna. So if I lay the 70 here, for example, I get the chance to run a 3 train like this, and I can run the 4 train like this, for example. I could even run the 3+1. I can take this and then go like this. And I think this is better for me. If I have a token in Budapest, you know, it's nice, but for my 2 trains, it's possibly not the best option. But I think sitting here is better. Okay, and now I can run my trains. So the Tisha has to do an emergency train purchase, and actually, you know, I gotta check something. The Tisha, I was afraid they had about $920. They wanted to buy the 4G train. Now for a moment I thought, oh shit, they do have enough money to buy one of the other trains. Luckily, the president is allowed to give additional money to buy the 4G train. So they are not too forced to buy one of the other ones. That is, that would have been tough. That would have been so brutal. But luckily this is not the case. So the Taoiseach can buy the 4G train, and that will give them a fantastic run from here all the way here to Budapest, maybe with a perspective to even use this area. But we're not there yet. Okay, so that's then. They couldn't run, so that means they drop in value. The Transylvanian can now run the 2 trains. The 4+1 is really good. We can start here, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and take that one. Sadly, we cannot really run the 4+2 to its full extent yet. We gotta kind of go like 1, 2, then take these 2, and then, oops, we gotta stop here. So we can only run basically a 3+2. But eventually I can upgrade this, and then I can run north and can go 1, 2, then take these 2, and then that one and that one. And then I should be able I should actually have a really good run. So right now it's kind of like 100, 130, 40, that's 200. 230, 260, 280, that's already 320. That isn't bad for now. It's one of the best runs, but it's gonna get much better. The Moravian is operating. They don't have a train, so I will now buy, which one? Maybe the 4E train. Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy the 4E train into the Moravian. And I can now do it. I can add from my own pile of cash here. You know, they are out of trains, so I can now say the value they are buying that for is, I don't know, 600 if I want to do that, and then I can take my own money and buy it over. But this is not quite what I need. I want a 5 train in here, so I gotta be a little careful. We got 600, 50, 60, 70. That's okay, that's about 700. So I gotta make sure that I don't mess this up, because you know, if I don't have the money to buy a train, it sucks. Someone else will probably buy the 5 train. I gotta think about that. Actually, it seems like I might have even miscalculated here, because it doesn't seem like anybody will even buy the 5E train if I look around. So, you know, still I don't want to make any mistakes. I'm going to make sure that I have at least 830 bucks in this company, so that I can be sure that I will get an additional train. Technically, I could even go for a 4G train, but does that give me such a big advantage? That is an interesting question. To be honest, I don't see a big advantage for the Southern to run a 4G train. I cannot place a token anymore. I don't really have access to these northern regions where there are the big coal routes. Down here, yes, but you know, if you think about it, it's just basically 4 dots. So I might as well buy a 5 train, hit one more city, and in that way make more money. And I have this route here, which is, you know, it's already laid out. It's a perfect route for a 5 train. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. Okay, so this guy paid 120 out of pocket, and the additional, I don't know, 30 bucks that were in here to buy the 4E from the Southern Railway into the Moravian. And now there's about 833 bucks in here. And that's definitely enough to buy the 5e. And I hope, I don't think this will go away. I cannot see that happening. Okay, so I didn't pay out, obviously, the value drops. And now we see the Carl Ludwigs, and they can run their 3G now all the way here. And we only need enough cash to make the connection here. Now, of these companies, nobody has that. So we'll see how that works out, who can eventually do that. We get a small income now, and it's actually not that small anymore from running these. I mean, this is 40 bucks, for example. This thing gives even 50. So it shouldn't take too long until we have the money to lay that one there. Carl Ludwig will... I'm considering swallowing half, because in that way I can make sure that I can lay this track next turn, and I am the guy who profits the most. You know, I got 2 railroads that operate there, and there's no money in here. I mean, I could simply wait for another OR, and eventually the money will come from the mine. But it feels like, if I swallow, you know, I'm sold out. So there's a good chance this thing goes up anyway. No, it only goes up at the end of stock round. God damn, I don't know. Maybe I should wait one more turn. What's the difference? It's not that much. It's only $2. You know, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to swallow half. So now this thing goes down here for the first time, actually. And I ran for 180, so I'm going to pay out 90 and I keep the other 90. Okay, so the Bohemian is now operating, and I made a connection here now. So that is crazy. I will buy next turn a 4G, and then I might get a chance to run all this thing. The problem is, the guy from the Austrian, he could token me out here, but I think he has other priorities. Next turn, he needs to place a token here, I guess. So we'll see. Maybe not, I'm not sure, I don't really know. I mean, he might also go there, and then it sucks for me. But I still have then the option to kind of try to make a connection here or something. We want to try it. So it's a 4 train that I have at the moment, so I can run basically like this from Vienna to Budapest, and then I will buy a 4G. I have $1,000 sitting here, and then I have a great company there. So the Hungarian is operating for the first time, and they also have the option to lay a token, and they will do it. They're gonna lay their last remaining token for $80, and they're gonna place it here. And then they're gonna run their 4 and their 3+1 train, so they can basically run twice the route Budapest-Vienna. So that means the 4 train, actually I can even upgrade. And I'm gonna upgrade Vienna, I guess. Okay, so he ran for 410, really strong, and now he will buy an additional train, the 4G train, for $1,000. Now notice there is an unlimited amount of 4G trains available, so we have to use some replacement stuff. But actually, well, you know, actually the Bohemian forgot to buy the train. I gotta do that. This is something I absolutely wanted to do, so I gotta make sure that I get a 4G train in here too. I'm gonna use the 1G as a replacement. Kind of sucks. I wish they had given just, I don't know, just 2 or 3 more of them. I mean, I think they could have done that. Okay, and that's that. And they paid out, so obviously share value goes up. And now we just go on, and we're going to buy a 5 train here with the, we're just going to run and buy a 5 train. Okay, so this guy has now the option, the KK can now place a token here for 40 bucks. They have that. Doing that would be very, very, very painful for the BK because it basically cuts off this route here. So that is tempting. The other option could be to say I wait 1 turn and then I place a token here, because this is also a very important space, and there is a small chance that this company and that company will eventually place a token there. They both have 2 tokens left, and this guy could actually do it. They could do it right now. But they want to lay the tile here, so that's probably, he can't really do it. But you know, if they run a couple of times, it's easy for them to get money from these mines. So, and it's much less likely that somebody will jump in here. So I think I will actually, on a 1 to 5, I'm going to lay a token there. Okay, so let's make a die roll. Okay, that's a 4. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to wait another round until I have my money, and then I'm going to place a token there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I don't have that much money right now, but eventually I will. And now I can run, I mean, I'm going to be very, very good here. I can run a 5 train down here. And I can run the 4G, oh boy. I can run it from here, I guess. Like this, go through Vienna to Brünn here, Krakow, and then to Budapest. This is crazy. Okay, so this is the first run crossing the 500 bucks threshold. We're running for 550 with these 2 trains. And this is not the end. I can promise you that. Just want to show you the run of the Transylvanian. They managed to upgrade that. They have a 4+1, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And they have a 4+2, so that's 1, 2. Then they take these 2, and then they go here and here. Take the 2 Ys. So that's going to be a pretty strong run. Okay, so that was a run for 390. I gotta be honest, maybe I miscalculated here when I thought about how many ORs we have. I think we're in OR2. It might even be possible that the bank breaks after the next set. I see some really strong runs here, and I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of money in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's about 10,000 bucks in here. But, you know, it's going to be very, very close. Super close. You know, maybe the fact that a couple of players now, after the mountain railways went away, maybe the fact that there will be about, I don't know, 6 or 7 shares to be purchased, that might actually have an influence here, and that might make this maybe go on for another set, but I don't know. So the Tisha, with their 4 train, their 4G train, their goal was basically to go all the way around here. but they can't afford to lay that tile. So what happened is I can upgrade here, and in that way, if I start here, I can actually go to Budapest and then go here, and that makes me more money than going all the way here. That's just interesting. Moravian has a 4E train that, and I think actually this is the only express train we have in the game. Yeah, the 5E wasn't purchased, so there's only this single train here, and they can skip all the dots. So that means they can start here at Vienna, via Brünn, Krakow, and then to Budapest. So at least a solid run. Okay, the Karl Ludwigs now, they can finally do the big connection here. I'm not even sure what that exactly means, because it's so crazy. You know, if you have the right train, I don't know, you could technically now start here or something and go all the way through the north. I mean, this looks just insane. And they have a 3G train, which isn't too impressive, but it still allows them to go from here all the way through here, here. And now I'm wondering, I cannot make it to Vienna, but I can make it to Budapest, and that is really, really amazing. Let's count that quickly. So that's 10, no, actually it isn't. We start here. 10, 20, 70, 80, 120, wow, that's not so impressive. 130, 40, 50, so that's 220. I mean, okay, for a 3G train, I guess it's pretty good. Yeah, for a single train, it's pretty good. So the Bohemian has a 4 and a 1G. So the 4, they got to run here from Wien to Budapest. And the 4G, that's not a 1G, that's a 4G. So I wonder what I can do here. It looks pretty insane. Okay, now let me see. If I start that thing up here, I can take these two, Prague, go down here, all the way here, take these two, go here again, then I can go up here, and that is the third one then. So I could possibly go also to Budapest. It seems this is the best one. Yeah, I think Budapest is the way to go. I don't get an advantage going here. I wonder, yeah, I cannot really skip that one at the moment. I wonder if it makes sense to skip this and then head more into this direction, but I don't think so. I think getting Budapest is just a really good idea. So yeah, I'm gonna go that way. Okay, so the Bohemian now ran for 510. I think we already have seen better runs. I think with the Transylvanian actually, but I'm not sure. But maybe it was the KK. That could have also been the case. Yeah, they have a 4G and a 5. That is probably better. So now the Bohemian runs for 510, which is also very, very good. Okay, so that's the end of the operating round. And yeah, I think we've already seen a couple of impressive runs here. This space might get blocked, which could change then the nature of the whole situation again. For some of the companies, definitely. And we'll also see how it works out with the bank. Honestly, I think the bank will break next cycle of ORs. I think this guy miscalculated here. His idea was to swallow, buy the 5 train. I think that was not the right idea. He should have paid out, I guess, and simply ran with a 2/4. That would have been much better for his share value. But we'll see. If it doesn't break, then it was the right decision, because then he can run the 4 additional 3 times and he will reach the end of the stock market anyway. So, hope to see you on the next video, probably the last one, or on lonesomegamer.com.